Welcome to MouseClicks TV. My name's Tim Myers. I'm here with Don Corbett today, the Linux guy. And Don has got a lot of interesting things to talk about today.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way. It's been a heck of a schedule for the last month, and thanks to all the viewers who've been keeping in touch with us through our various emails and such. But a few weeks ago, I was out in Las Vegas doing some training with SUSE Novell, and ended up getting a lot of interesting folks involved with taking their CompTIA Linux Plus test.
You know, I'm CompTIA certified. I'm A Plus certified, Network Plus certified, and they've got a Linux Plus certification as well?
They have the Linux Plus certification. The Linux Plus and the Security Plus are the other two really hot topics. So, of course, you know, I know you are our Windows guy, you know, and I wouldn't want to change that. But on the other hand, you know, having that diversity in your portfolio, I mean, it really helps, especially if you're looking to be a job changer.
Sure.
And just to keep up on the changes, because, you know, Linux is all I do, and it's getting harder and harder for me to keep up with the breadth of the demands that keep coming up. So you know, we were out in Vegas. Like I said, we had a very interesting environment there because we're actually conducting classes at the Flamenco Hotel. And worked out great. Did not get to see Donnie and Marie, but you know, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Only lost $2 gambling.
Well, there you go. That's not too bad.
You know, one thing you won't gamble on is your education.
That's right.
And that's what this thing is all about. Folks coming in that have a year experience or better, they have a really good chance of passing. So in that case, we were doing a 1-week course focusing on the way SUSE looks at things. You know, things like their YAST, YAST2, their AppArmor, things that are more exclusive to using their environment. And then after the class, you know, folks are also able to take their CLIP, which is for the Novell Linux Professional, and so that was pretty cool. We had an average rate of passing, which, you know, that average is okay. Then this week, I just came back, which is why I'm dressed like this, just got back from the Ohio Linux Fest. And we did an all-day exam cram. So basically, I took the material that we did in Vegas, condensed that into one of these, so that we've got part 1 and part 2 for the LPI certification. Now, the difference between the LPI certification and the Linux Plus certification is really becoming, one's more community-oriented, and one is more of a political action group with CompTIA, you know. But there are actually more LPI certified professionals, LPIC level 1, than any other certification.
So if someone was going to get certified, this would probably be the best one to do?
Or? Well, you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because if you're in high corporate America, you really want to look at either the Red Hat RHCE, which would be the second worldwide largest distribution, and they argue back and forth as to who's the biggest. So the RHCE, but it's much more difficult. It's also much more costly.
Okay.
So if you're running Red Hat at your facility, you want to do that RHCE. I mean, that just makes sense, because that's what you're working with every day. It's going to be a much better, easier way to go, actually, because that's what you're used to.
Right.
The Level 1 LPIC is going to, and that's for the Linux Professional Institute certification. The Linux Professional Institute is a global group, started out of Brampton, Ontario. So it also is North America heavy, but it is truly a global certification. So if you got somebody from your HR department who says, you know, we need to have all of our computer techs certified in Linux, and they don't care what flavor, which is a good way to go, either the Linux Plus or the LPIC would be a good alternative. And now LPI is taking over the Linux Plus as well as the LPIC.
Are they?
So they're working through a process right now where you go through these training sessions, and you may actually qualify for both certifications if you get a high enough score.
Right. And these certifications, I mean, they aren't easy. Right. I mean, I know the ones I took weren't easy.
Yeah, and there are some discussions about the difference between, like, for example, Red Hat's version, where it's really, there's nothing on paper. You are building a system, you are troubleshooting a system, you're installing a mail server, and you're doing all these things. And of course, once you get your certification, you're not allowed to talk about what all the the secret handshake is and that. But it's just common sense stuff. And of course, the information that we've already talked about is publicly available on the web. But it's common sense stuff. What do people use this for? So that's one type. But then the other type is it's a psychometrically certified performance-based test. And arguably either one is going to be a valid signature that this person knows what they're talking about. Now, some of the tests will also be weighted in that, and I forget what the exact technical term is, but you'll be asked some precursor questions, and if it shows that you are demonstrating a strong knowledge in that, it'll skip some of the other stuff and then just get right to the more harder things. And if you do well on that, it keeps skipping. If you miss on that side, then it'll make itself
I think that's
easier.
sort of like the Microsoft test. I took some of those as well. In fact, for some of those, if you've already passed the minimum, sometimes I'll just end the test. You've already passed.
Exactly
so
right.
Why go further?
And that's very cool. In the case with the show up in Columbus, we tried to get through that entire week of material in one day.
That's a lot. That's a lot of material.
And basically, it's half of this book. So the book's going to be, this is for the 101, this is for the 102. Now, I'm a little partial to this book because
there's something special about that. What's so special about this book, Don?
Well, one thing that's special about it is the 5 guys that wrote it are good friends of mine, and I got to actually be the technical editor on the book, so I got a name in there as well. You got a credit in there, huh? But yeah. And now this is for the 2nd edition. The 3rd edition is actually smaller because what we did is we took out, this is for LPIC level 1 and then LPIC level 2. And that's an awful lot of material.
That's a lot.
But this makes for a great, even though it's called a nutshell, it cracks me up and says, certification in a nutshell. That's a big nut.
Yeah, that's a big nutshell.
Yep. So, but there are lots of programs out there to help folks get certified, help them do their thing, and that's what this is all about.
That's awesome. That's great. Thanks for watching MouseClicksTV.com. Don, thanks, and we'll see you in the next segment.
You got it.
Keep clicking.
Hey, what up, everybody? This is Marcus here with MouseClicks TV, and I'm sitting in with our resident Steve Ballmer type, Mr. Tim Myers.
Steve Ballmer.
How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. How about yourself, Marcus?
I'm doing good. So we got a couple of email questions from our loyal viewer, Robin. How's it going, Robin? Thanks for emailing us. If anybody else has any emails, hit us up and we'll definitely get your
I can
thing
be
on
reached at Tim at MouseClicksTV.com,
Sweet.
and you can be reached at
Marcus
and even Don over there can be reached at TheLinuxGuy at MouseClicksTV.com.
Sweet. If you can't remember all that, just go to the website and we'll take care of you guys.
That's www.mouseclickstv.com.
Right on it. All right. Miss Robin wanted to know, how secure is a wireless network?
Well, wireless network can be fairly secure. It depends on where you are. I mean, you don't want to do your banking if you are like out on the green space in Dayton because they don't encrypt anything. And that way everybody can use the wireless network. If you're at home, it's a little bit different because you can use encryption, whereas they don't on the green spaces. Like I said, I wouldn't use credit cards, wireless. I wouldn't be, going to eBay and buying anything with your credit card or doing your banking or.
I will say that I am guilty of doing some eBay purchases at some place like Panera or something.
But let me tell you this though, even without wireless, people are worried about using their credit cards online. Would you agree? A lot of them are.
Yeah, sure.
But if you think about it this way, you take your credit card out of the restaurant and you hand it to someone. You're sitting at your seat. You hand it, where's that going? Where is your credit card going?
5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes or longer, and you're like, where's my credit card?
Right.
Now, and too, with when you're doing purchases over the internet, it's fairly secure. In Windows, watch for a little padlock down the right-hand corner. If you see a little padlock, you're fairly certain.
I think that's the same one,
just
about all systems.
Okay. So yeah, it's fairly secure. Like I said, if you're in a public Wi-Fi zone, I wouldn't do it. But if at home, it's a little bit different because you can a little bit more control over your network.
Now, this is a question I know the answer to, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Is there any security difference between 802.11n, G, or B?
Well, if you're talking about in G, there was WEP and there was WPA. B's is a slower protocol, I guess is what you want to call it. G is faster, and there's also 802.11n, which is what I use at home. You know, and again, what was you going to say?
Is there any more security in between the three, or is it just they're all just about the same?
That's a good answer. Well, WPA would be better. WPA2 would be better. That was WPE or WPE was wireless. Or no, WEP. I'm sorry. WEP was wireless. Do you remember what it was?
No.
Wireless equivalency privacy or something similar to that. But WPA2 is the more secure.
Okay.
And you always want to use some type of encryption. You don't want everybody to be able to see what you're doing.
Well, I definitely miss the old days when everybody had their routers open and you could go into anybody's neighborhood.
And a lot of people still do. And that's something we're going to talk about, because there's certain things you can do to make your wireless network a little bit more secure. And I'll talk about a little bit right now, but then later on I'm going to go home and I'm going to do a tutorial to show you in my type of router anyway, which I have a link says how to actually change those settings. Like I said, a lot of people, like you said, in the olden days, you could drive around and get in anyone's network. Now, if you were driving your car and you were on someone's network, they don't know you're on there, and you could do a lot of nasty stuff, and who's going to get in trouble for it? The person whose network it belongs to.
Right.
So yeah. Anyway, there's some of the things you can do to protect your wireless network. First of all, out of the box, you want to change the default password. A lot of times it's blank, just blank. So you can add admin and then click enter, and you're in. Change the password to something that you want to choose. It used to be they said that an 8-character password was secure. It's not so much anymore. Now they're recommending up to 12. And you know why that is?
No, I do not.
Because you heard about these video cards now that have all these processors on it, where it takes less time now to break one of those passwords, an 8-character password, because they can use like CUDA on the NVIDIA cards.
So on the Mac, we have a password security program. Basically, you type in your password and it tells you the strength of your password. Is there anything like that for Windows?
Oh, well, for Windows, I'm sure there is, but we were talking about the network. Maybe it depends on your router.
Yeah, no, this is all passwords.
If it tells you, well, a lot of sites you go to, it'll say like weak, medium, strong.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, so something else you want to do is you want to change your SSID. If you might be, I don't know, are you online right now?
I am.
Okay, if you look at your network, it'll say, what is it, DATV or something? That's the SSID, it's the name of the network. Out of the box, mine was Linksys, so people can see that. Okay, change it. I think mine at home now I changed it to something like Wolf or something. Okay. And something else you want to do is you can also make it to where your router does not broadcast that SSID, so no one's going to see that they're, yeah. Depends on the router.
I just like making weird ones like no pay, no play or something like that.
And again, you want some kind of encryption. WPA2 is the best, but even WEP is better than nothing.
Right.
Another thing you want to do is you always want to have a firewall. Do you use a firewall?
I do. I kind of overdo it. I use the firewall on the router, and the OS has a built-in.
I don't think you really can overdo it. I mean, it's better safe than sorry, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
the OS has a built-in firewall.
The OS has one, and you're right. The router does too. The router has a firewall too, and it's NAT, which is network address translation. You can also change something else you can do to make it a little bit more secure. Is you can make it so it's not DHCP, which it doesn't automatically assign addresses. You can make static addresses within your network. Something else that people don't think about, the best place to put your router, if you can, would be in the middle of a room instead of like an exterior, like a wall or near a window, because signal will leak outside. And if the more secure, like I said, the better. But if you're not secure, people can see your, that's a free, something else that Robin, I think, was asking about is if there was free Wi-Fi. Well, like we were talking about, yeah, there's free Wi-Fi all over the city if no one has lock down their router, but you can go like McDonald's. They have a lot of free Wi-Fi. The city of Dayton does, like downtown. A lot of those areas downtown have free Wi-Fi. I think Starbucks has Wi-Fi.
One of the big things, you pretty much have to take a laptop with you or some kind of smaller device. Right. A lot of people kind of might think like, well, I'm going to take my whole computer to Starbucks.
No, you don't want to take your desktop, you know. But like your iPad,
sure.
iPad would work. Anything, your phone. Some phones, have Wi-Fi on it. So that's about that for now. So I'm going to show you how to do that, how to protect your network when I do the tutorial.
Okay, we'll be looking forward to those tutorials coming up soon. This is Marcus, and that's Tim. We're here at mousefix.com, and we'll be clicking at you.
Welcome to mouseflixtv.com. My name's Tim Myers. I'm here with Don Corbett, the LinuxGuy, and Marcus, aka Tree, and we're going to talk a little bit more about our phones.
Yes.
So what do you think, Marcus?
Well, Apple just came out with a new update for the iPhone OS.
Oh.
Yeah, it's 4.1, 4.2 for the iPad. iPad's getting
It's starting to...
getting all kinds of new stuff, folders,
wow,
and multitasking and all that stuff. So they'll catch up with all the other phones.
So is the one being a .1, the other being a .2, is .2 really that much better, or is it just because of different devices?
I think they're starting to get into kind of a fragmentation kind of thing.
Of their own.
Yeah. So right now, I think the iPad is on 3.2 something. They're on their own little.
Man, that's moving fast.
Yeah,
they move really fast.
I guess.
Yeah.
It's a lot faster than what HP is moving.
No, well, I was just saying though, because the Droid, you've been out with that product long before the Droid came out, and Droid's only on a 2, an early 2, and you're in the 4s now.
Yeah. But they move pretty fast though with their dot update. So they came out with .1, .2.
Well, you have to, though, to start out with, quite honestly, just to fix the bugs in a new product. And as things stabilize, that has slowed down quite a bit. I get application updates daily. Now, do you get application updates like that?
I don't update my applications a whole lot.
Okay.
Like I'll wait and then just do one big thing. I'll do it all in iTunes. Click update.
Oh yeah.
It updates the next time I sync.
Yep.
There'll be a 20-minute sync or something.
Wow.
Like that. That's wild.
Wow. Well, that could be a little interesting when it comes. You're ready to play your music and you're waiting.
Come on.
Yeah. When I was going to Columbus for the Ohio Linux Fest, I had to use my phone as my GPS using Google Maps and the GPS feature. And I was quite impressed with it because I have a Magellan, but my daughter's taking it to Chicago. So, I said, well, you can go ahead and have my Magellan, and just because I have to go to Columbus and I'll be lost, but that's okay for my little girl,
Oh, anything for your little girl,
She
right?
didn't fall for it, though.
She didn't?
Because she knew I had the Droid, So she's like, oh, come on. And, it talks to me.
Do you have to pay extra for that?
No,
See,
and that's the thing.
I have
and
GPS.
the Google Maps is always updated,
Right. I have GPS, and if I want the one that talks, it's going to cost me extra a month.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
No, it just asked, the first time I went to use it, it says, do I want this feature? And I said, yes. It says, well, you have to download these 3 apps.
Right.
Okay, free, okay. And so long as you got the space.
That's part of the power of having Google behind your phone.
Yeah, no kidding. And she's had some problems when she had the Magellan because it's 3 years old now, and I've never bothered updating the maps. So I'm really ahead with this. And I
That
like
seems
that.
to do a lot of stuff. You were showing me
Well, and
like a metal detector and all kinds of stuff.
oh
that you
yeah,
found.
yeah. It's got the metal detector. It's got the compass, so that actually you're looking through things and seeing the compass in 3D.
Yeah.
You know, the star map thing that I think
Seems to
you
do a
guys have
lot.
that
And
too.
you know what? I have some dishes that need done. Does it do dishes?
You know,
Not yet, or
if I put a little Brillo pad right here, I might be able
okay,
to
so
help
you can just
scrub
kinda
with it.
One of the things I like about GPS on the phone is the car GPSs, your Magellan, your TomTom, they're really built for your car. They're pretty bulky.
Yep.
And when you're outside,
And the perspective is landscape, where your direction needs to be portrait.
yeah. Well, my thing is when you're outside of the car, if you're downtown in a city that you don't know,
Yeah.
you don't want to pull out a big GPS and
Yep.
walking around like that. So
Yep, that's
having a
exactly
phone
right.
GPS is much
yeah.
a lot better.
Well, one of the features that I have here is I can search by either car time driving, public transportation time, bicycle time, or walking
Right.
time.
Yeah.
And I noticed when I was in Boston trying to use my Magellan to walk, unless you're walking briskly, it kind of gets confused. I don't know if it's because of the buildings or what, but this actually seems to be the opposite. The slower you go with this, it likes walking better than driving fast.
You know, they have like
Not that I ever drive
scavenger
fast,
hunts.
but, you know.
They have like scavenger hunts where they use their
Yes.
GPS. I forget what that is, but
Yep.
Geocache, is it
yeah,
geocache?
geocaching or
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things I don't know if the Google phones do it or not, if the Android phones, but they're also using cell towers to triangulate your position.
As a secondary.
Yeah, so you have two forms of positioning, whereas your regular GPS you have one,
Right.
and then it might take 5 or 10 minutes for it to hook up to the satellites.
Oh yeah, that's quick. Well, let's see if this will talk to me, because I still have it going to Columbus. We'll see if it'll figure out, since we're inside here, if it can figure out where we are. It just kicked on the GPS, and it seemed to do that pretty quick. Now the other thing, I've got to make sure that this stays plugged in because it'll drain the battery.
The GPS drains the battery.
Yep. Well, it knows where we are here in the studio, but she hasn't told me to go anywhere yet. But it knows that I'm on Leo Street and I should head toward McCook.
Well, that's pretty good since we're in a building.
And we're
too.
inside the building
Right,
with all
'cause
this metal roof. You know,
mine
all
will
the
usually say,
technology here.
move somewhere else where there's a better satellite signal.
Do you guys?
No,
do you guys-
this is showing me exactly where we are.
That's
do
awesome.
you guys do anything like Foursquare or anything, or have you heard of that?
Is that
No.
like with the barcode?
No. Foursquare is it's a social networking kind
I've
of
been
game,
here,
kind
like
of thing.
restaurants. I've been to this restaurant.
Yeah, you go into
Oh,
a
yeah,
restaurant,
yeah.
you turn it on, and it uses whatever Wi-Fi or GPS to figure out where you are, and you can click in and say, "I'm here at whatever DATV."
Yep.
And the more times you check in at that spot, the
Oh,
more
okay.
kind of points you get.
Yeah.
and
Because you
then
go there more often.
yeah, and you can become mayor.
Like
of
mayor,
that.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
the particular, yeah, I've
That's
seen
very
that.
cool. Very cool. Yeah, this is showing me actually, I guess because of the reflections in here, it shows me as being in the parking lot. That's still awful darn close.
Yeah.
And I can do the Google satellite layer over top of it. I can do traffic layering over top of that. It's pretty cool from that
Pretty
perspective, but boy, does that suck a little battery.
How long does your battery last on that?
Not long enough.
Yeah, mine either. How about yours? You
A
get
couple
good?
hours when I'm using it like this.
Both my Palm phone and my iPod Touch get really good battery life.
Yeah.
I think since I upgraded my iPod Touch to 4, I've seen the battery die down a little bit, but there's supposed to be a fix for that in 4.1, which I haven't upgraded to yet.
Yeah, well, mine is stock battery, which I can buy a higher amp hour battery, but that's all we have time to talk about for now.
All right.
But
Thanks for watching Mouse Clicks TV. I'm Tim Myers with
Don Corbett.
Don Corbett and Marcus Tree. We'll be clicking at you.
Stay tuned.
Take it later.